Hi, beloveds. Welcome back to my channel. This is Divine Empress, your Fulani sister. You might have been someone who, for a very long time, you felt like the person who was always left out, or the person who felt that, they were always on the different page from everybody else. Maybe like you couldn't relate to the children around your age. You either seemed, for some, you might have seemed at times too childish, or at times you seem too mature, or you just didn't fit in. Seemed like when everybody's in one page, you were in the other, and you didn't seem to find um, those whom you could relate to, whether it be at home or whether it been outside. You might have even been someone that, for a long time you invested a lot of your time into things and people that didn't serve you. Even if you didn't understand it then, that's what was going on. A lot of things have happened in your life, and you might have even got to a point where you felt like you questioned if there was some sort of divine God or most high being because of the things that you've been through. You felt very, very alone. Like you were the only one. You had to be your own parent. You had to be everything that, you know, somebody should be to anybody. You were your own friend. You were your own parent. You were your own everything, because you just didn't have that. And in the physical, it felt like you were alone. You were never alone, of course. God is always with us, and there's always divine beings who are assigned to be with us. But I know that some of us, we were not always spiritual or aware of the spiritual aspects of life, especially at a young age. All you knew was that you were by yourself and you didn't feel supported and you felt alone. And so much has happened in life. And because of you having to learn to figure things out on your own, you might be like in a place where you feel behind. Maybe you feel behind in comparison to others around your age, or maybe some even younger, you know maybe things that you didn't realize as a child that didn't seem to bother you because you were so focused on just survival and just being the person that you were expected to be, I guess, when the roles that you played, whether those roles meant that you took on identities that you shouldn't have had, or you ended up doing things for validation that you may or may not feel good about now. um Whatever it was that has happened, has life has been so hard that it just felt like, it sometimes even felt like, if it's only you might have been around people who just seem to be blessed all the time. Like they can go through the traditional routes and they just and they get it. Like maybe you're somebody who you might have not attended school, like for example college, in the same time your peers did, or you might not have finished the same time they did, or you might still trying to figure out about how to get there, regardless of how old you may be. Maybe you're somebody who you waited a long time, knowingly or unknowingly, for something to happen, for some miracle, for some divine intervention to happen. But it just always seemed and felt like you were by yourself. And because of that, you having to deal with so much, you feel like, or you might have been told that you missed out on a lot. Maybe there have been even people in your life who have complained to you about how your life look. They try to make you feel bad about how your life look. It'd be like, oh, look at you, you're a certain age. Look at your peers. They already married. They have these jobs. Look at what they have, homes. They do, like they keep telling you. It could be even people close to you. It could even be people who were in your life that could have helped you, could have made a difference, but chose not to. And now, like, they just expect you to just have it or just know the things that they never taught you. They just expect you to just have it or figure it out when they haven't contributed anything to help you. They might have seen you struggle, but they didn't offer a helping hand or anything like that, and they just left you to yourself. But they still will come to you and complain to you. It could have been like a parent who never played the parental role in your life. But they'd be the ones out there to talk about you and to talk to you about how your life isn't the way they think it should be. Um, Maybe like the reason why you never felt connected to the environments and the people that have been in your life is because you were meant to do something different. I know that this is a type of message that comes out a lot, and sometimes when you hear this type of stuff too much, you just be like, you don't even want to hear it anymore, you know? Because it's like, why do you have to go through so much? Why does it feel so alone? If you're really some sort of chosen child and you have a bright future and there's all these amazing, great blessings coming your way, then why do you have to go through all of this in order to get there? And there's a, as they always say, there's a reason for everything. But you might not be in that space, in that mindset of really understanding that. And even maybe you started to understand that and embrace that a little bit. Be like, okay, maybe there's some truth to what I've been told. Maybe there's a reason, there's something more, But as soon as you start to have that hope and start to push yourself again, it feels like no matter how much you try, you keep hitting walls. Like no matter where you try to turn, it just keeps feeling like this wall just keeps coming up and blocking your path. For some, you might believe in like spiritual warfare. That maybe that, like the video that I did, that some people might know who you are and who you're meant to be before you realize it. So they try to fight your destiny before you get to where you need to get. And that's why sometimes you have the experiences that feel like you have a bunch of blockages. It literally feels like you're fighting against something just to be able to breathe, just to be able to have little successes. It could be for some that is spiritual intervention that might have been trying to block and everything. And it could have been also because of how you grew up and not having support and having to basically raise yourself and learn about life and the world on your own. And you've tried your best with what you can do or you could do to survive and just, try not to lose it. I want to say that I'm very, very proud of you. I'm very, very proud of you. I don't know your story. I don't know how far you have come or what you've had to overcome. But for the fact that you're here and you're listening to this video already says that whatever happened, whatever you went through, you didn't let it overcome you to the point of giving up. Whether you think you're doing something or not at this moment, listening to this, even if you feel like you've given up, you have not given up because you're still here. And I thank you for that. And I'm very, very proud of you. You just choosing to be here, it's already a big step, even if you did nothing else. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to be here still and not giving up no matter what has happened in your life. Maybe you've had moments and times where you've really tried your hardest to do things and to make things happen, and they just don't seem to work out no matter what you do. Maybe you've had people who have felt like you were just being lazy or you were just being like a coward or something like you just didn't have the will to do it or you just didn't want to do it. But it just feels like no matter what way you have tried, no matter what route you have taken, things just didn't seem to work out. And you've had to carry so much on your own. In this physical, at least, you felt like you've had to deal with so much on your own. You've had to go through the sufferings on your own. You had to cry by yourself and deal with everything on your own because there was nobody else to rely on. That could have been because, you could have been that strong person in the room that everybody relies on. So it's like if everybody relies on you, then you have nobody else to rely on. Or it could be that, you just didn't have that kind of support available. You felt like you didn't have that available to be able to be vulnerable and ask for help because you didn't feel like you had someone willing to do that, willing to listen. Or maybe you didn't even know where to start. You didn't understand what was happening. I mean, you might still be in a place right now where you feel lost and confused about life. You could be somebody that, yes, you have been through a lot and everything, but you could be in a season now where it's like something is trying to knock at your heart. Maybe you've been seeing messages that have been talking about how there's a shift and a change coming up, and maybe you've been seeing messages that's been saying that there's a divine purpose and plan for your life. You've been seeing messages that's like trying to say that, to remind you that everything has happened for a reason, in your life, and that God is with you, just trying to remind you of the divine intervention that's always been in your life. But you're still at a place right now where what they're saying does not, your reality and what you feel like you're getting about yourself doesn't seem to match. And you could even be having like supernatural experiences as well that you can't explain, but that it's happening, you feel it. Maybe you have certain abilities that would be considered supernatural that others cannot. Maybe it's the dreams that you have, maybe it's your ability to hear things, or I don't know, see things, all those spiritual abilities. And you feel like you are called to something, but because of how you have lived, like basically like Cinderella maybe, or in other ways, it had just made you feel like there was nothing special about you. And even now it's like, okay, you know that you have these things, you know that something is speaking to you, but it's like you're still at that place, like what are you supposed to do, like lost and confused. And you might not fully want to trust what you're hearing, or even trust that there's a higher power, or there's like spiritual divine interventions, things that are happening spiritually on your behalf, and that you will be that person, like maybe that like you're meant to be, for example, famous. And you've had to live a certain life in order to be able to be that person that you call, so that when you step into that stage, you will be ready for the audience that is meant for you. But right now, those experiences that you have to go through to make you ready to become that person, it has some effect. It's like, when you go through a battle, even if you know you're gonna win, you already know that you have won. When you go through that battle, there will still be battle wounds. There will still be things that you have to heal from, even if your victory was guaranteed. So what you've been going through, it could have been like you going through that because of the purpose that you carry. It could have been the weights of your destiny, the weights of your purpose. And even though you were guaranteed victory, divinely guaranteed victory, it still affected you. And you're at a point now where you need some grace, you need some healing. I want to ask you to give yourself grace for what you've been through, and give yourself time to heal. And I do want to suggest to you that you lean on God, or whatever you believe in, to lean on your faith to help you. Especially if you feel like you have nobody, or you have had nobody. You've never been alone, whether you believe this or not, because God is within us and around us. God is in everything. If you think back, there have been moments where you've had help, where it felt like it was just out of nowhere. Maybe you thought of something, or you went somewhere where you felt like you had nothing, but somehow help came out of nowhere. If you think back, there were moments in your life that some things might have happened that felt like just a miracle. There's been signs, there's been divine intervention that you probably just didn't notice or didn't see them as that. Every experience, most experiences have a duality to them. I'm not telling you to just get over it and all of that stuff. I just feel like there are some of us who are in a space where it's like we're being basically shown that it's our turn. Like, for everything that we've been through, now is our turn. Everything now is the time that things will start to make sense, that we will start to understand and see why we went through what we went through. Like, it's like time to align us with our purpose. Whatever schooling that we had to do, whatever training that we had to go through, it's like now that's over. Now any training that we go through going forward, it's just literally making our dreams come true, living our reality. Because there's a weight to everything. There's a weight to your dreams. There's a weight to the purpose. And the training that you have to do now, if there were other interventions outside of you, I feel like God is like, this is the time where it's like that, like we're protected from all of that. We're being protected from all of that. You can pray about that too. But when you're protected, right, especially if you're somebody who might consider yourself like a chosen child or something, then like you're protected from a lot of the things because of who you are and what you're here to do on this earth. But we also have some battles that we have to face with ourselves. Because, yes, this could have been outside influence that have affected our lives and have made things maybe a little more difficult to achieve. But if we look deep, maybe inside of us, there's some things that we might still have to work on. And the dreams that we have, the goals that we have, the plans that we have might be requiring us at this point to be someone else, to step into the new versions of ourselves, meaning like the old cannot come with us. Those habits that don't serve us cannot come with us. Let's say, for example, you had a dream to go to college and graduate, and you've been struggling with school. But you've been struggling with school, it could have been because of your habits, your study habits. Maybe if you're somebody that procrastinates, and rather than actually reading the content, you just screen through the content, and you might be somebody maybe who search up answers and all of that. And now it's like, for you to be successful in that might have worked before. Those, you could have had habits that were not right, but you could get away with it. But this new you and where you're being taken, it cannot go. Like you have to change. You have to know. You have to now really learn the content and know the knowledge in order to be able to move forward. So now this might make you feel stuck, and it's not because of anybody else, but it's because of what you have to deal with inside of yourself. You might have to face yourself. Like you have to look at the man in the mirror and take accountability for the parts that you can control, for the parts and aspects of your experience that might have been influenced by you. That you, maybe some things in the ways that you've been that wasn't serving you or might no longer serve you, that needs to go. And it's all for your good. It's, of course, releasing these things and letting these things go. It will be at your best interest. Because if now is your time, everything is aligning for your good. But nothing that you're meant to achieve or receive will not require action from you. Even if it's just that when you move towards the things that you're meant for, towards the things that you want, it's like you're giving consent and you're showing God and you're showing life that you want those things. Your action is like consent, and your actions is like it's showing your willingness to have that. So no matter what it is, it's like, I know you've been through a lot, and I know that if for so long, maybe you've had dreams and that you have given up on because of whatever might have caused you to give up on it, maybe because of lack of support. Maybe you didn't have enough validation, or just or resources or anything, whatever reason why you stop that. It's like, if now like there's divine favor on your side, you be inspired to go and pick up those things. Maybe there's something that you're giving up that you're thinking about now in this moment, even when you're listening to this, that you want to go back to. And going back to that, it's possible. Regardless of what has happened, it's possible. You are being remembered and you are being favored because God is the most just. God has seen and heard everything, even things that you remember and don't remember that you've been through. Everything was divinely seen. And for everything, there will be justice. You might have to face yourself in order to be the person that you need to be for what you're trying to be. Anyways, what I'm trying to say to you is that if you thought of this moment, like God coming to you and telling you, like, my child, now it's your turn. I am here and I have orchestrated everything for you to have the things that you dreamt of. Pick up that notebook, pick up that journal, pick up that vision board. What did you write down of what you wanted? Bring your list of your wish list of the things that you want. Bring your dreams, even the things that you wanted as a child. What you have there is possible to do it. And imagine God telling you, my child, just step in faith. Just step in faith and you can have all these things because I am with you. Imagine God telling you that He's with you. He's with you now. His hand is on your life and He's not letting go. Imagine God being that the one who never leaves nor forsakes you. The strongest handhold that will never break, the most trustworthy one. The most high divine creator. Imagine the divine creator is remembering you right now as you're listening to this. And this is the message reminding you and showing you that. It's like it's okay for you to dream again. And it's possible, regardless of what you've been through, to be the person you once upon a time dreamt of being, but at some point gave up on because life seemed like it wasn't going to be possible. What I also want you to remember is that making your dreams come true, it doesn't mean that your life is going to be a fairy tale. Even if you feel like a chosen child with spiritual abilities and all that, it doesn't mean that your journey now is going to be, and you have awakened to realize who you are in terms of spiritually. It doesn't mean that now your life is going to be a walk in the park, like easy fairy tale, and you're now going to go through trials and tribulations and all that. The difference is that whatever you go through now, there are lessons that are going to keep push you forward. Like everything that happens now is for your greater good and it's to push you forward. Like if you're somebody who's meant to speak, you're called to speak, then you're going to have to work through that social anxiety. You're going to have to work through being afraid of speaking up. So in learning how to release that trauma and heal from that, it might feel hard. It might feel difficult. You might even feel like you want to pull back. You might realize the things that you don't like. You might even think that you don't like your own voice. You don't like the sound of your own voice. You have to overcome all of that. So these would be like the kind of battles, for example, that you might be dealing with that will, but it's all to help you move forward. Like God will help you through that. Pray your way through the things that you know that you can and cannot handle. Take God as your best friend, the one you can talk to about anything and everything. Know that when you speak, even when you're alone, it is divinely heard. And have faith that your words will not be in vain and your efforts will not be in vain. And when you find yourself backtracking or you feel like you need a minute, give yourself that minute. Allow yourself to breathe and pick yourself back again. And if you find yourself going back into to certain habits, because sometimes you might be put in situations before, and that will really show you how far have come, whether you have healed through. There could be little tests like that. But remember, if you find yourself in similar situations, remember that you are no longer that person. Remember the journey and all the work that you put in yourself. And don't allow yourself to go back to being that person that you were at that place. If you had to go to a home that you left, to a neighborhood that you left, when you left that place, there was a lot of work done. Remember all of that, all that you learned, all the new things. You might have gone back to the same place, but you're not the same person who left there. Remember that and stick to that and live as that. And sometimes God could take you back to places that He's taken you away from to show you how far you've come, for you to realize how far you've come, and also for you to test to see how much you have healed. And it's also to remind you of what you've been through. Because sometimes we forget what we've been through once we're on the other side or once things get a little better. You've been through a lot, probably. But sometimes you could be taken back in order to be able in order for God to catapult you into your next place. When you pull in the catapult, whether a catapult or a slingshot, those things, you have to pull it back before you can release and launch it forward. And sometimes you go back a little bit to certain places, maybe in situations, even people, because there are some things that needs to be resolved, or it's because you need to go back in order to be catapulted forward much faster, like when you pull the slingshot. So when you see, sometimes just ask God, pray about it. When you feel like you're in situations that you've left, ask why. Ask about the people around you. Um, Ask about people around you. Ask about every situation in your life. Ask about the people around you, if there are people that should be in your life. Ask about the things that you're doing. Ask for signs that you will understand. Ask for signs if you should do this or you should do that. Ask for divine guidance and listen to your inner voice, your intuition. You know the answers within, but if you need confirmation, ask for it. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for all of us. It's not easy. Some of us have had some really difficult journeys, and honestly, I'm proud of every single person watching this video, whether you could relate to anything I've said or not. I'm just proud of you for being part of this existence, for being part of this life. Thank you for being here. And I want to remind you that it is possible. No matter what you've been through, it is possible. And I feel like it's because of your story even more. You should push. You should push to achieve the things that you want. Because there's somebody out there that might be going through the same. And you could be that example, that role model that helps them through what they're going through. Or even for your inner child. Even for your inner child, for yourself. You living your best life is worth carrying on the weight to achieve your dreams, no matter what that may mean. And never lose hope that there's divine intervention in your life, even if you don't see it physically. There's a reason why God keeps certain people away from us, even if it means not letting them help us, because you never know what goes on behind closed doors, what our people's intentions are. Trust in divine guidance. Trust that you are divinely protected, guided, provided for. Trust that you have divine grace and favor always. I'm praying for you and wish you all the best. Peace, love, and light always. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. Take care of nature. Treat others the way you would want to be treated. And don't forget, you deserve the best. I love you. Thank you for watching.